Welcome to this episode of the podcast. Today I will be talking to you about Anthony Ayres, who was convicted of murder around 1994, served his time, was released, and then committed murder again. If you do end up liking this video, please subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify. I'm going to read out some newspaper articles for you where I did the research for this, and then I'll give you my own thoughts. So, in July 2016, Anthony Ayres launched a ferocious hammer attack on Kelly Pierce. Kelly was 36 at the time, before stabbing her in the face and neck 40 times. A jury of 6 men and 6 women unanimously returned the verdict after less than 4 hours of deliberations at Chelmsford Crown Court. Ayres, of Phillip Avenue in Canby, gave a wry smile as the verdict was read out. Miss Pierce's friends and family gasped and shouted yes from the public gallery. It is the second time Ayres, who's 49, has killed a woman. He was jailed for a minimum of 19 years in 1994 for strangling his partner Dawn Wisdom to death when she told him she had aborted their child. He was released on license in March 2012 and lived at Felmore's Bail Hostel before moving to Canby to be closer to his family. He tried to sustain work as a gardener, a trade he learned in prison, but soon became unemployed due to flooding on the island. During sentencing, Justice Maura McGowan told Ayres that she had no choice but to jail him for life. Addressing him, she said, "Less than 3 years after you were released from prison, you killed Kelly Pierce. You took a knife and a hammer to the flat where you knew she was. You set about an attack of extraordinary brutality, which in my view amounted to sadism." Kelly's addiction to hard drugs had blighted her life in recent years, but all of the witnesses we have heard from said she was fun and kind. She had a big heart and a warm and open personality. All that is gone. Her son grows up without a mother. The only sentence I can pass in accordance with the law is a whole life sentence. And in case you didn't know, in England, a whole life order or a whole life sentence is life means life. You won't get released. In America, if you get life without parole, halas, life without parole, right? Whereas in England, generally speaking, you will be jailed for life with a minimum of 19, 20 years. But in this case, he was jailed for life and that's it. So he'll never be released. Ayres showed no emotion as he was led out of the dock and into the cells. During the 2-week trial, the court heard that witness Joseph Withers was locked out of his flat in Phillip Avenue by Ayres, who then launched the frenzied attack on Miss Pierce in the bathroom. Mr. Withers said he was discussing borrowing money from Ayres when the killer suddenly flipped. After he managed to get inside, he told the court he saw Ayres wielding a hammer. Mr. Withers fled the scene and called police. When paramedics arrived at the scene, Miss Pierce was still breathing but gasping for air. Despite desperate efforts to save her life, she died in hospital from multiple injuries. A manhunt was launched when Ayres made off. He was arrested in Southend the next day after being spotted by an off-duty police officer. He told them that he was going to hand himself in anyway after a friend living in Basildon told him police were searching for him. Ayres was wearing a blood-stained jumper and jeans. He also had cuts to his hands, thought to be knife wounds. A review into how a dangerous killer was able to murder again was launched, according to Essex Police and Crime Commissioner Roger Hurst said that work needed to be done to prevent convicted murderers from offending again after their release from prison in the wake of the guilty verdict. He said, as disclosed during the trial, Ayres had a history of committing acts of violence. When Ayres was previously found guilty of murder in 1994, it was reported that the judge described him as representing a serious danger to women. His subsequent murder of Kelly has highlighted the risks of releasing serious offenders on license and the challenges of properly monitoring them in the community. It is essential that all relevant agencies, including probation services, the police, local authorities, and the NHS, work closely to prevent such tragedies from happening. Crucially, we need to understand why the monitoring arrangements put into place were ineffective. A review of these procedures will be done. As well as murdering his partner in 1994, Anthony Ayres has a string of previous convictions for violence against women. Ayres was just 27 when he killed Dawn Wisdom after she told him she had aborted their unborn baby. He saw red after she told him, "I'll get rid of it because it's yours." Her lifeless body was found by her devastated parents at her East London flat in September 1993. Ayres claimed he was innocent, but was convicted of murder and jailed for life to serve a minimum of 19 years. In 1988, he throttled his girlfriend to the point where she passed out. A year later, he strangled another girlfriend. The family of murdered Kelly Pierce told how their lives have been shattered since she was savagely beaten and stabbed to death. After a jury found Anthony Ayres guilty of murder, prosecutor Cairns Nelson read out a statement from Kelly's mom, Lynn Wallings. She said, "Kelly was cowardly and brutally murdered at the hands of Anthony Ayres. On that day, my life and that of her family were shattered forever. Since her death, I have found it difficult to smile or laugh or live with any sense of happiness. Part of my heart and life was taken too when she died." She added that she has regular nightmares and suffers from anxiety. Kelly, who lived in North Avenue, Canby, also left behind her stepdad Richard, who brought her up since she was 15 years old, her sister Lisa, and her only son Josh. Miss Wallings added, "Kelly loved Josh dearly and always referred to him as her pride and joy. Kelly was such a colorful person. She was beautiful, kind, and caring. She was so big hearted, always finding the time for others despite struggling with her own mental health issues." Around 350 people attended Kelly's funeral, with a tribute on the flowers reading, "A bright light has gone out of Canby, now we have lost Kelly." Miss Walling said, "I have not only lost a daughter but a friend and a soulmate." Kelly had mental health problems and her addictions and demons, but deep down she was a very loving human, Miss Walling said. Murderer Anthony Ayres tried to frame a drug user and paranoid schizophrenic as Kelly's killer throughout his 2-week trial. Ayres told Chelmsford Court that he stumbled across Kelly, who was seriously injured, and held her as she drew her final breaths. Giving evidence, he told the jury the brutal attack was carried out before he turned up the flat where Joseph Withers lived. According to defense barrister Oliver Saxby, Withers had a motive to kill Kelly because she claimed he had raped her. Mr. Saxby said, "If Anthony Ayres is not the killer, then a prime suspect would be the other person in the house, a paranoid schizophrenic." Mr. Withers suffered psychotic episodes which were exacerbated when he took drugs and had previously threatened to use a knife. Now, the reason why I wanted to tell this story is Anthony and how Anthony just couldn't handle truth and criticism. So let's go back to his first murder of his wife or girlfriend or whoever she was back in 1994. She told him that she aborted the baby because the baby is his. Now, let's be real, that's gonna hurt. As a man, that's gonna kill you. Just imagine that. Just imagine someone came to you and said, "Your baby is no longer here because of you. I rid your baby because you are not fit to be a parent. You are not fit to be a partner, husband, or whatever. You are not fit to raise a child." And by the sounds of it, it was his first child. That's gotta burn. That's gotta hurt. Well, you know what? Tough shit. I'm giving you my own opinion now because when I read this kind of stuff, it makes me angry. Let me tell you a story about myself. I used to be married. And I remember my ex-wife said to me, this is what she said to me. She said, "I want to have kids." And I remember at the time, that's when I first landed in America, right? We're talking like 2015. And I thought to myself, I don't have my green card yet. It's on the way. I don't have a job yet, but I will when the green card arrives. So I said to her, "Give me a year, 6 months to a year. Let me get my green card. Let me get my job. And then we can do whatever you want. Have as many kids as you want, whatever. Just let me get set." And you know what she turns around and you know what she says to me? She goes, "If I don't have kids with you now, I'm going to go have them with someone else." Ooh, that's pretty fucked up, huh? Just think about that. Just think about that. Just landed in America. And that's what she says to me. That is the equivalent of that lady saying, "I aborted this kid because of you." Obviously, that is more severe than what my ex-wife said to me because they were just words, right? Anthony's ex-wife was action, sorry. But the point that I'm making is that sticks and stones, Anthony, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words should never hurt you. Now, it seems like Anthony did have a disdain for women. Perhaps he was very insecure at how women perceived him and being around women, where when women questioned him, he reacted violently. Maybe this is due to his mother beating his ass as a child, but that makes no sense because my mother, we used to beat my ass and I don't hit women. So, in terms of him being released, so I don't blame the British government for this. Like I said, in England, they have a whole life order, a whole life tariff. He served 19 years. According to the system, he did his time. He went through the rehabilitation, whatever you want to call it, or as they say in America, he had become corrected, right? And they let him go, and he committed the crime again. I don't blame the government or the rules at all. You would think after 19 years, maybe someone would be okay. Maybe they'll sort themselves out. I know for sure that when these kind of prisoners get released, they go through a full psych evaluation. Do you know what I mean? So I would trust the psychiatrist and the government regarding that. So Anthony, I just think Anthony was just impulsive and he just did not know how to handle women. For example, the woman he killed, Kelly, claimed, or it is said, that she was going to report, let's just say, that he had raped her. Now, let's assume that's not true, hypothetically. That doesn't mean you go and kill her, does it, Anthony? And let's just say he did rape her. Well, Anthony, why did you rape her in the first place, you sexual deviant? You understand what I'm saying? So I hope Kelly's family has found peace. Kelly seemed to have quite the troubled life with drug use. And also she's living with like a paranoid schizophrenic. So it seems like these were two troubled people. And maybe Anthony was just trying to take advantage of them. Thank you for listening, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good day.